Hi, this is David Hughes with another video for Genealogy Basics. Today we're going to focus on equipment and software. Uh, so I'm going to go through and look at the two types of trees. This is the way I call them, internal and external trees. We'll look at some software, then dig a little bit into selection of external software, and then give you a suggestion for just a temporary strategy so you don't have to make any decision right now. Discuss equipment real quickly, and then I need to end up with a little bit of a warning on digital files and avoiding any possible loss of information. Okay, let's jump into this. I divide things into internal trees and external trees. That's my nomenclature. I call internal anything that works inside of a repository. So Ancestry, MyHeritage, Find My Past, and Family Search all have tree tools that you can use. I'm going to put an asterisk around Family Search. We'll come back to that. But as I've said in class, that has a one tree philosophy where everybody's working on just one large, huge tree. And so that's a lot different than these others. And then I have external software, and I'll show you a little bit about Family Tree Maker because that's the one I use and have been using since 2001. Um, so let's just take a look at it, and I'm just going to demo these a little bit. Um, so here, I could go back to the homepage, but this is an Ancestry. I can then select a tree, and in Ancestry, you can maintain many different trees. I keep all of these private, nobody can see them. Um, you then can construct your tree, and then you can use different tools. For instance, like a quick edit here, you can then change a fact in on a person. You can use this button here. You can add a person. Um, or if you go into, and Harriet Wild is the one that we've been working on a lot. Um, we can go in and do a search there. We could also we can edit. We go in here and uh, you can add different facts. So I can show you. There's a huge list of different facts that you could add on here. And then when you add in a fact, then you want to back it up with sources, and you can introduce and add sources. Uh, Harriet doesn't have a lot here because I've kept her pretty light. But this is my official tree that's linked over to my uh, tree software. So, and then over here you can add family members. Uh, there's a lot of different tools that you can add on. You can label, like if it's a brick wall, you can click on it. That way you can find it again quickly. A lot of people keep all their notes on their research here for a particular person. And then you can add comments that would be seen in the public. Maybe you can put in uh, the troubles that you're having so somebody else that comes along can look at your comments and catch up to where you are. Now, I'm not going to do any of the hints here. What I have is another tree that's just for the class here. So this allows you to use, and we've talked about this, these are the hint buttons. And the benefit of these internal trees is that they're linked together uh, to the repository. So if you click on this and go after these quick hints, or if you do a search, it knows that you're searching about Harriet Wilder. So let's take a look at the 1880 census. And you could look and make sure, and we've seen this record before in class and in different demonstrations. Here it is, it's the Harriet Wilder. We'd look at it very carefully, make sure this all matches up. That's a separate exercise. I won't do that here. But then you can then say, would you like to save this information to your tree? And you say yes, and it brings all this in. Now, I personally don't do this, but this is one of the benefits of this internal tree. If you do the yes, it then brings in, make sure that you uh, look at this. Now, what we know is that Harriet Wilder was spelled incorrectly, so we don't want her to I don't want to override the information I have already there. Um, I I have put in there it's Vernon, um, Oneida County, New York. That's correct, and it's Willoughby. Uh, this is essentially the same. So anyway, what we'll do is save the tree, and oops, sorry about that. Save tree, and you accepted this hit. So now we go back to the tree, and we can see now that so so now we have her residence is 1880, and it's linked to this 1880 census as a source. So you can see how this quickly you can start populating and have sources. It puts all the information in there. It's essentially written a citation, um, and you can. It also then links to the census, so you can look at it again. Um, if we go back to the tree again, when you what you can do is click on potential mother, and it has already found a possible match to and what you could do is then link, and you can see that it has a whole bunch of different records that are linked to Clorinda Cheney. We know that this is the correct person, and then you could add her uh, to there. And then when you open it, you will see that then it uh, has all this information. Now we'd have to go in here and bring in all the sources that are behind that. But this gives you a good start, a good point. You have to prove it and bring in sources. But you can see here the Ancestry has a nice integration, and this is the case for all these internal tools. So that's Ancestry. What I'm going to do is then switch over to an external. So this is Family Tree Maker. I have it sitting on my computer. This has the capabilities that it is synchronized with Ancestry. So because it synchronizes with Ancestry, you see these same leaves. And I do all my work here in this program. The nice thing about this program is you can look at the person. I don't have much here because I've been keeping Harriet as light as possible for the class. But let's pick somebody who's got a little more information around them. But you can see I've written notes. You can change the information here. You can write create task lists that then you can come back and that's reminders to make sure you do things. You can store pictures and different web links that you might want to use. And then over here on the right is all your different sources. And what you do is you click on a fact and then you attach a source to that fact. And when you do add a new source, it goes through templates so that you can you have a new source. It give you different templates for writing a citation, help to write a citation. So a lot of good features on this. And let me back out of this and cancel. Let me go back to the tree, and let's go back to Harriet. But it also has an integration with Ancestry and Family Search. And I'll show you Ancestry. I hit that leaf and it has matches. Or I could have done just a new search using Harriet Wilder. In fact, while I do that, let me just do a new search rather than uh, going with that. And let's change this around slightly. Live in, make sure that we've got Willoughby not coming up here. Oh, that's because I didn't spell it right. Lake County, Ohio. And this is 1880. What I'm trying to find is that 1880 census. And let's put things in there. And we don't need to search for all these things, just historical records. You do a search. And here's Harriet Wilder. You click on this, and we would review the record and make sure it's the right record, that it all matches. You would do an analysis and make sure this is the right Harriet Wilder. We're going to shortcut this and say, yes, it is. But then you have this option to merge. And I'm going to do this into my official tree, and I'll remove it later. But you do a merge down here, and then it asks you what information do you want to bring in, whether you want to override or not. And I have all my information pretty much set up, and it will just add some of these as alternates. So then you go next, and we're going to leave all these alone here. Ignore this person, ignore this person. And then what you do is merge. And it then brings in that record into your tree here. And now we're going to go back. And this is one of the complaints, though, is learning what buttons to push to really make Family Tree Maker work. I go back to people to get back into this and look at the person. And then in 1880, there'll be a new line here. And this is the 1880 census that we just added. So anyway, I've added it a couple times here for class demonstrations. Next time I'll come and delete these. But anyway, you can see how these tools are similar, but a little different. These software on your computer have a lot more tools, for instance, on how to publish a story and different things like this. But both are fine. So let me go now back to the presentation. So, again, I've covered this, is that one of the problems with external software is it costs money. So it can be, with very simple features, it can be free, but then it can be up to $99 to get these tools. There are a lot more features. Internal, that are part of these online repositories, they're internet based. They're, one of the best things about them is they're very integrated with the search repository. But they're pretty flexible, and they're free. So all of them, most of them, allow you to maintain your trees using a free account. So that's a huge benefit. Look, when you select, if you decide to go with an external tree, I have a page here. It's in your slides. You can go and look at this, but what you want to do is test this out before you buy any external software. Test it out. What you want to look for is how the system works and whether it makes sense to you. Do you mesh with it well? Does it make sense to you? Does it feel intuitive? Uh, Make sure that it has all the data entry types you want. Do you want to be able to add uh, files or photos? And maybe it has features that help you with your DNA results. Um, you saw there that it can help you write citations. Um, you can extract information. That a family tree maker links in with Ancestry or Family Search. It makes lots of reports. It can export in GEDCOM files. This is the standardized family tree format, but it costs money. They also have apps for mobile devices. I don't think that's a very important feature. Um, it never really is as good as you think that it should be. Um, and you can, there is one out there that you can fully customize. If you're a real software geek and write your own code, you could create your own, customize the program. But anyway, there's other features like photo editing, a relationship calculator, coding, color coding. You saw the task manager that I was writing. But you can, some of the software also has good error detection. Make sure that you haven't put anything that doesn't make any sense. Uh, Down here, there is a link. This is the article I used to pull out of the information coming up. It's a good article. I recommend you looking through it if you're going to consider external tree software. Anyway, here's a list. There's links. The ones in bold are sort of the big ones: Ancestral Quest, Family Tree Maker, and Roots Magic. Um, but really, pick one that fits your style um, if you're going to do any external software. In the long run, I think that the cost is minimal when you consider that you're going to be using it a long time and you have a huge investment in this. I selected Family Tree Maker a long time ago. Now that I have about 300 people in my tree with huge amounts of information, it isn't easy for me to switch out. So I would take my time, use free trials, um, try out different software and see what fits for you. And make a tree on Ancestry or MyHeritage or one of those sites. Also, um, have a tree of like 8 people uh, and just see how it goes. Make Putting 5 to 8 people in the tree isn't going to use a huge amount of your time. Okay, beyond the tree, now I'm sort of done with talking about trees. There is other software that you're going to need. You need to have the ability to write notes. You're going to I use Excel all the time for tracking census information. Um, you could also use PowerPoint to make presentations, or OneNote is a software equivalent to sort of note taking software. Um, Look, I favor Microsoft because that's what I worked on so many years in an office. But you can get the free version with uh, Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides, and they're free. You do have to install and set up the Google Drive, but hey, free is free. Um, as far as note taking in the genealogy community, Evernote is the software that everybody seems to like. Um, you can click on this and go to the website and see a demonstration and see if it's something that interests you. But that does cost money. There are other mobile apps that you can use. I think the big mobile app that you would want is maybe a type of photo document scanner. Definitely, you need Google Maps. Uh, just it helps you get to places. I I personally, now that I've done a whole bunch of work on the iPad and did those videos on how to use the iPad. I I don't think the mobile apps really are very useful. So I prefer just going to the web page. And if you're sitting on your phone doing this, I guess, sure, if you got a few minutes, have these apps on your phone and you can do some genealogy work. Um, Another big software that you need is photo editing. You need to annotate your photographs. I use View for uh, it's a Windows program. It's free and it's pretty simple to use. I have a demonstration video on how to use View. Um, then I also have a free software. It's just called PDF Merger and Splitter. You can find something for Mac also, but you'll find that you'll want to break up PDF files or add a page to an existing PDF file. Let's say you download a PDF document and you want to add a citation. So you could bring down that PDF file from a source and then write up a uh, citation, put it into PDF. You can export PDF format from Word, um, and then use the program to merge it. That way, your citation is attached to your source material. And this is real minor, but I also have some software that does character recognition. Every once in a while, I need it, that I'll have an article or something, and I can bring down a image, and this program can take an image and try to read the text in the image. But I would say that's pretty minor. I don't use that very often. So there's a lot to think about here. So what I would say is until you make a decision if you want to go with any software, um, on any tree software, what I would do temporarily is create a free account on Ancestry. Uh, put your notes and build your tree there in Ancestry. And once you make a decision, then you make the switch over. Uh, I recommend not going past 20 people in your tree. Then it starts being hard to move over. But put it in Ancestry and keep it private initially. Someday you might want to make it public, but keep it private and start there. That way it's free and you haven't committed yourself to any one strategy. And then look for free trial periods. Use Google Drive and Google, versions of the Word, spreadsheet, and presentation software, and just keep it free. So as far as equipment, I'm not going to really grind into this. Um, you can do a lot of things with pen and paper, but these days you really need to have at least a computer. Um, you could use just an iPad or other type of tablet. I do have videos on how to use an iPad, since there was one student in our class that was all they had available, and that's all they were going to invest in. Um, I use a laptop, and my laptop, I'm connected to a big screen so that when I'm at home, I can put a lot of different material up and do my research. That is the most pleasant and easiest for me. But you can go with a desktop also. No reason to be portable unless you think that you're going to be at the library a lot. Um, Behind having this equipment, you do have to think about where all your information is going to be stored. Um, what you want to do is make sure that your information is safe. You don't want to do all this work and then lose it with a drive going down. So you want to make sure you have a backup strategy, and you could use either external drives, cloud storage, maybe even go real high tech, which is a file server in your house that has redundancy so that it keeps your data safe. I have decided to move to a strategy because I go around and I travel and I like to access my work, I go have now moved to an iCloud storage for my primary work with then backups on external drives and on a file server. So um, I have different places that it's stored to make sure all my work is safe. Um, then you do need some kind of digital uh, imaging type of equipment, so digital camera. I use my phone, of course, if I don't have anything else. And then when I go visit and I know that I might be taking images where I can't bring in a scanner, I have a little compact camera that has the ability to save files in a lossless format. I mean, you can go to a full SLR camera, but I don't think it's necessary. But it is an option. Some people like to use a real nice camera and have a setup to digitize documents, photos, and everything using that fancy camera. So um, the best option, though, is whatever you choose, is make sure it has a lossless format. I'm going to talk about that on the next slide. We'll come back to this. Um, then very optional is having a scanner to digitize your documents and photos and slides. Um, I have a scanner that's a little nicer that I can digitize, for instance, three slides at a time. It has a template and can scan multiple images at one time. That way you can get through them a little quicker. Um, I also started doing interviews, and I invested in a digital audio recorder. That way I can record it and then move it straight over to my computer. So if you think you're going to do a lot of interviews, I think that it's worth uh, picking something out there. Uh, the one that I picked was very nice, and it was like I think $60 or $70. So it's investment, but it can save you a lot of time, and it creates some very high quality files. Okay, this is more of a warning more than anything. This has to do with uh, uncompressed using uncompressed format. Um, so you might not know this is getting pretty techy here, but compressed formats are like JPEG or GIF for photographs. Uh, JPEGs are very common. This is what you get most of your images from a repository. But here's the issue because JPEGs are using formulas to convert lossless images into a smaller package. It's using some tricks to store it. And what happens is if your disk becomes slightly corrupted, it takes only a couple bits and you get something like this, where I came back, I had 100 or so images scanned and saved. And I came back about 5, 6 years later, and somewhere through my travels and relocations, I opened up and the images were all corrupted here. And this is what I had to go back and rescan those images. And this is what it looks like when it is not corrupted. This is another JPEG here. But just beware that you run this risk. Now, maybe you don't want to go lossless, but then you better have a very strong backup strategy and a backup that goes several years back, or that way, um, if you suddenly find a corrupted image, you can go back and find an earlier version of the file that is not corrupted. So I am now going through and making sure that all of my files are lossless. This is what's recommended by archivists. Um, I then make a compressed copy, like a JPEG for sharing and posting. I don't care if it gets corrupted. If somebody finds it has a corrupted image, then they can come back and talk to me. Have a good backup strategy, even for our lossless images. But just to show you, lossless means that it's PNG, TIFF, BMP, RAW. Those are the photo image type files. And then for like sound, you would WAV or FLAC. Um, and then movies, this is a couple other lossless formats. But anyway, it's more of a warning than anything else. Don't get too wrapped up on it. Anyway, let me leave with you that. I know you might have some questions. Please post them or bring them to class. Um, I will go through here and try to add all these links to this video in the comments. It might be a little delayed in getting in there, but I will add that. So, anyway, we'll see you in class.